we could have done better in that a really sophisticated approach to the case would have been to try to put it all on with video evidence. That is not usually an easy thing to do. I would say with 20/20 hindsight, it's something that could have been done, and I own that. I mean, ultimately the buck stops here. It's not my job to throw other people under the bus. If there's a decision that is poor, and I believe that that was an incorrect decision, then we have to own it, and we have to try to do better moving forward.
Alright y'all, let's break down part 2 of this developing case because it's starting to get dark, complicated, and frankly a little twisted. Now, if you thought part 1 was shocking, buckle up, because the pieces we're about to put together show just how deep this situation really goes. Ever since the initial police investigation, folks have been questioning how things got missed in the Kada Scott case. And now, 20/20 hindsight aside, authorities are admitting, yeah, mistakes were made. Video evidence could have been gathered earlier, and honestly, that could have changed the whole trajectory of the investigation. But here's the thing. The police are finally reporting surveillance footage that could tie Keon King to not one, but possibly 2 accomplices in Kada's living. That's right. Sources say Keon wasn't acting alone. There may have been 3 people in total involved in transporting Kada's body, and there's even speculation that Keon was hired to do the deed. That's a big allegation. But if the evidence holds, it paints a chilling picture of premeditation and calculated violence. Now let's rewind a bit. The anonymous phone tip that helped the police locate Kada's body was the first real breakthrough. That call launched a manhunt to figure out who might have assisted Keon. And that's where the new surveillance footage comes in. Police claim the footage shows 2 people moving a heavy bag, which is consistent with human remains, from a vehicle to a wooded area near Ada H. Lewis Middle School. But that's not all. The footage also suggests a third person, potentially in a gold Toyota Camry, was involved in the movement of Kada's body. Originally, reports only mentioned a second person helping Keon. But now, with this third individual in the mix, the investigation is widening. Who is this third person? What role did they play? Did they know the plan from the beginning, or were they coerced? The authorities haven't confirmed names yet, but speculation is already swirling online, and people are pointing fingers at Gabby. Gabby has been making TikTok videos defending herself, saying she didn't alert the authorities and claiming she was simply trying to focus on her education. But when you look closer, things don't add up. For example, she said Keon called her that day for only 29 seconds, but screenshots of the call show it as outgoing, meaning she initiated it, not Keon. So what exactly was discussed? Was she warning him, helping him, or just checking in? That's unclear, but it raises red flags. And Gabby's record adds another layer of suspicion. Back in March 2025, she was arrested for possession of a weapon, terroristic threats, conspiracy, assault, aggravated assault, and endangering another person. She's out on bond now, and apparently allowed to travel for school, but her criminal history combined with her proximity to Keon paints a picture that's hard to ignore. So how did this all start? The first contact between Keon and Kada was recorded on September 28th, when Keon messaged her. Then he texted her again on October 2nd using a text now number, introducing himself anew. By October 4th, the texts escalated. Kada wrote, "Kidding me again?" To which Keon responded, "Better be up too," and set up plans to meet that night. At 10:09 p.m., Kada sent her last text, "See him when you're here," which investigators confirm meant call her. She then entered what she thought was a dark SUV, but surveillance footage later confirmed it was actually a stolen black Hyundai Accent, taken from a pizza delivery driver. The car remained near the Auberry Recreation Center.
One day Keon calls me, and keep in mind I am in school, I am in Maryland, and he will usually just call me, just to check up and talk. So he calls me and he asks me if I know Kada. And I'm like, yeah, I know Kada. And he's like, oh yeah, I noticed that she lives really close to you. I'm like, yeah, she lived right in the back of me. And I'm not thinking nothing of it because he usually calls me and, we just be chatting. He'll call me about the people that be around because he is the pharmacist. I live in the neighborhood and he be in my neighborhood. So we hang up the phone, and that was that. We were only on the phone for 29 seconds. So you can see that this is the day that he called me, and there was no reason to call the cops. He already turned himself in, and I felt like it would be kind of a waste of time to tell them that the guy that they already have in custody, called me and was asking about the girl. And me personally, I'm not a cop caller. Like, I don't call the cops. That's just the way that I grew up. That's what I was around. They will always tell me, you don't call the cops. So I just felt like, the information that I had and the fact that, I'm just not really a cop caller.
Center for over 36 hours. By October 5th, surveillance shows the heavy bag being moved, potentially Kada's body, and the gold Camry leaving the scene. Then on October 7th, the stolen Hyundai was set on fire to destroy forensic evidence. So the main vehicle tying Keon and his accomplices to the crime was gone. Adding to the confusion, there are reports of 2 women living with Keon who may have assisted him in transporting the body or at least knew about it. And then there's Gabby, whose connection might be deeper than she's admitting. Was she part of planning, or simply aware of what was going down? Investigators are looking closely. What makes this even darker is that Kada may have had prior warnings. Her co-workers reported that she seemed upset before disappearing, saying things like, "I can't believe you're calling me about this," suggesting she was aware someone was harassing her. Her parents also said she mentioned being harassed days before she went missing. Was this all premeditated? Was Keon hired to silence her? Medical examiners confirmed that Kada was struck directly in the head. But here's the odd part. From Keon's criminal history, he typically uses choking or less detached forms of violence. This head strike feels methodical, detached, like someone experienced but wanting minimal contact. And let's not forget, Keon is the neighborhood pharmacist, familiar with precision and methodical processes. Was he experienced enough to carry this out so clinically? It appears so. Keon's actions were bold, almost reckless. Picking up Kada in a stolen car, dumping her body in his own neighborhood, and then attempting to destroy evidence? That's either extreme confidence or stupidity, or maybe both. And Gabby's presence complicates the narrative. She's claiming innocence, but her proximity, prior arrests, and communications with Keon make it clear she's not entirely uninvolved. For many following this case, the question remains: was this premeditated? The planning, the communications, the accomplices, and the execution all point to yes. This wasn't a random act. And with the addition of video surveillance showing multiple people involved, it's becoming harder to argue otherwise. Finally, the community is reacting. People are horrified that this happened so close to schools and neighborhoods. They're demanding answers, accountability, and justice. And as the story develops, more details will likely emerge, potentially linking more individuals to the crime. So what's next? Keon is in custody, and the judge has denied bail. Gabby remains out on bond, but her legal situation is still evolving. Police are continuing to review footage, text records, and witness statements to build a case strong enough to put all involved behind bars for good. If you're following this case, here's what you need to do. Stay informed, check reliable updates, and pay attention to court documents as they're released. Because every new piece of evidence could dramatically change what we know about Keon, Gabby, and the other potential accomplices. So smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications. Trust me, this story is far from over, and you don't want to miss the next update as we break down new evidence, legal developments, and possible motives in the Kada Scott case.